So I am back with another video, and in today's video I'll be going over the UFC London results and my overall reaction to the whole fights on the main card. So starting off with the start of the main card, we had Campbell versus Silva, and Campbell was having his UFC debut, being undefeated. And in my prediction video, which I did initially, I did say that Campbell was going to win, but unfortunately he didn't, and I should have thought that Danny Silva was going to be a problem, as he did take Vallejos to a competitive decision. But I generally thought, as Campbell has good grappling game, I thought he would mainly get the decision because of that. But going into the UFC, the main stage, he did get dropped 2 times by Silva, and it's all over. But in round 1, I did think that Campbell was winning comfortably and starting off strong, though Silva did end up on top of him from a switch when there was grappling. But Campbell didn't really seem to have any issues, and he did have 2 to 5 takedowns, of course, in the first round, and was attempting to get into dominant positions. But overall, defensively, Silva was very good, as you would think Campbell would have grappled and attempted to get Silva into terrible positions for the whole fight and keep him down. So the grappling defense of Silva avoided that, and near the end of the first round, Silva did have Campbell with his back up against the cage looking very vulnerable. And then in round 2, Danny Silva did go all out there, just ultimately doing way better than Campbell on the feet, leading to him dropping Campbell. And then as soon as Campbell got up, Danny Silva was just relentless in landing as much shots as possible, which then made Campbell drop again. And that really is it for the fight. Though I must say, Silva should have got a performance bonus, which he unfortunately didn't. But overall, having the first main card event being like that of a stoppage is a pretty decent way to start the card. And I mean, Mason Jones versus Sala before that was an unbelievable fight. Like, that was the main fight of the card. And it's always these prelim cards that always end up putting on the best performances and the best fights. So that was a really good fight to watch. So the next fight on the UFC main card was Roman Dolidze versus Christian Leroy Duncan. So initially I did pick Christian Leroy Duncan to win, and that did happen. I must say though, Christian Leroy Duncan is completely light on his feet and has good movement. He's like very fast as well. He's also very dynamic, like he does have spinning elbow KOs and flying knee ones as well. But his striking and even leg kicks from this fight, I feel like need improving. But Roman Dolidze, on the other hand, just wanted to avoid any means of trading anything with CLD, even with like the way he grapples. So in round 1, I knew Dolidze was going to attempt and try to grapple CLD, which he did end up. He ended up taking him down, with CLD even struggling being down for a few minutes. And one thing Dolidze did, which he did many times, was go for that leg on the ground, but he didn't really be successful with it. Though CLD did get dropped with a spinning back fist from Dolidze, but mainly CLD was landing the better shots in the stand-up trades. But Dolidze, apart from getting control time throughout the fight, he didn't really land much damage apart from the spinning back fist. So moving on to round 2, I think it was clear that CLD won. He had the better shots that were damaging and hurting Dolidze. And I mean, Dolidze just kept trying to shoot in and take his leg, but CLD was showing a more cautious, patient approach, as he could have landed more, especially with the leg kicks too. And I think maybe that was due to the fact he got hurt with the spinning back fist in round 1. And round 3 was pretty much similar to round 2. Maybe clear win for CLD that round, but near the end, Dolidze did get the back of CLD, so I have to maybe watch that round again. But it really depended on the judges, as of course they had to take into account the spinning back fist that Dolidze done and the ground control time. But I think it was correct to an extent, as CLD did land the better shots with more damage, but it could have been better, as I can't lie, as he moves in the rankings, people with grappling advantage will take more advantage of the openings that he leaves, as he did leave quite a lot of openings. So the next fight was Baranowski versus Lane, and what a debut for Baranowski, stopping Lane in less than 30 seconds. When first seeing these guys come into the octagon, Lane had a huge reach and height advantage, which, I mean, it looked mad at first, but of course it don't matter. But I had a look previously on Baranowski, and he has only finished fighters in the first round, which I didn't have a single clue about, which is actually mad though. And Lane just really in the first round stood out, chin in the air, and then of course Baranowski right hook and left hook, good punching combination, and put out Lane, who is now 1-5, and came down from heavyweight as well. So I don't know if the UFC cuts him from the organization or not, but a great overall performance from Baranowski, which is the performance of the night, and I mean fair enough it is. So moving on to the worst fight of the whole card, MVP versus Patterson. This was absolutely awful to watch. Like, every round was just dragging, and there was no other fight that I wanted than this to end as quickly as possible. I mean, they attempted to fight, but it just didn't happen. Nothing hardly happened throughout all 3 rounds. I can't even explain anything about the fight because nothing actually happened. So, like, even in the first round, it took so long till even one strike landed. Like, I wanted MVP to win, but all his fights, if I'm being honest, is so low output, and just him being ahead by a little bit of strikes. Like, people are saying that it's not MVP's fault, as he's a counter striker, but if I'm being honest, I'd like to see more leg kicks, some activity than just waiting continuously. Though I must say Patterson should have shooted him for more takedown attempts as well. Round 2 though, I think it was a clear win for MVP, 10-2 to significant strikes, but man, nothing really happened at all in this fight. Even Patterson, could have shown more urgency and landed more. So on to the next fight, Luke Riley versus Aswell Jr. Not the fight I was expecting at all from Luke Riley, but I think he clearly won. His striking was way more clean and damaging, though I thought Riley did lose the first round and then won the last 2. But some people do think Riley won all 3 rounds. I'll be honest though, Aswell is really durable. He took some good shots from Riley, especially in round 3 as well, and he didn't look too phased by them, so fair play to him on that. As well as this, Riley was getting hit a bit on the chin as well, that Riley shouldn't have really let landed. The body shots though from Riley were very good, and you could actually hear the impact too. I'm glad that Riley was co-main event though, because especially since the fact that the MVP fight was actually so bad, so I wasn't really bothered about this being the co-main now, though previously I did say why on earth was this the co-main. Some people actually thought Aswell won that as well, but it's very clear he didn't. It's a clear 2-1 Riley. And now moving on to the main event, Mosvar Eveleyev versus Murphy. I actually enjoyed this fight. I really like undefeated versus undefeated fights, as it is competitive and you just don't know 100% who is actually going to win this fight. And this fight was very competitive, but it was very strange and weird. Like, Mosvar took ages to land his first takedown attempt. For the first 2 rounds, he just stood and traded shots with no intention to shoot a takedown. I know Bisping was saying that Murphy's movement made it harder to shoot takedowns, which it probably did, but I just thought Mosvar would have at least attempted to shoot once or twice early on. And it's like he was forced, like he was being forced to not shoot for a takedown, otherwise he wouldn't get a title shot or something like that. So I thought it was an overall draw though. So first and second I thought Murphy clearly won, but apparently Mosvar won the first, which I don't know how he did. And Eveleyev did win the 3rd, 4th and 5th, but he did get a point taken in the 4th round. However, I did think that this was an absolute joke to take the point off when that was the first real low blow kick. I just think it was very harsh, and I was confused why Mark Goddard even did that, because it's not consistent with any other fights where that happens, and it doesn't make sense. So many eye pokes, so many groin shots where points are not even taken off, and yet this fight, a point got taken off. So it's not consistent really, especially now in such an important fight. Is quite mad. But one thing I will say is Volk beats Murphy and Evloev, because if Evloev really thinks he can fight Volk with that same game plan he used against Murphy, then he might as well not show up. And people saying that Ilia Topuria ducked Evloev, I think realize now that Evloev would lose to Topuria. I don't think he gets knocked out, but he would have defo lost the decision. And I'll be honest, if Topuria was still in featherweight, he beats everyone there. Just like he can beat everyone in lightweight at the moment. It's not even Glaze in that, he's just generally too good. So, talking about the start of the fight, first round starts. Evloev doesn't really do anything at all, to be fair. Some nice body kicks at times, but not really much, and stupidly the judges give him round 1. I don't know in what world he won the first. Murphy was generally better with the striking, and he landed very good low kicks. He also had that stiff jab hitting Evloev in the chin, which did alert him, and watching that round, Evloev was not landing a single takedown. And it was just so confusing to me, what on earth was he actually doing? Does he want to allow Murphy's game plan to win? Did they say if Evloev doesn't keep it standing up, he won't get a title shot? I don't know, but it was quite mad. Round 2 comes and still no takedown. So now I'm thinking, surely Murphy is going to win. What is Evloev actually doing? Murphy is now 24-17 on significant strikes, so clearly Murphy won round 2, especially in giving Mosfar a black eye and swelling. So it was generally just more impactful that round. But I'll be honest, till near the end, no shots was hit that had real intention to actually hurt each other. Thing is, Evloev, a thing about him is he's generally so chill and calm. He shows no urgency. Even when he got the point taken, he was more eager to land more damage, but he stays calm and strategic in landing his shots and making sure that they get damage. So moving on to round 3, I think that round went to Evloev. He did more that round. I think the ending of that round really made him clearly win it, as Murphy was clear to win the round, but near the end, Evloev did take it and he did shoot for his first takedown finally, and he landed it easy. So I'm thinking, why on earth could you not do that first? But even when he did have the body lock, he did want to let go and strike still, so I have no clue why. Because looking at it, if I'm being for real, Murphy is actually easy to take down. It does seem like that's something he needs to improve on, but the main reason Evloev did win round 3 was because he did catch Murphy with a punch, which cut Murphy by the eye quite bad, and then he quickly followed up with it, as Murphy was kind of hurt. Round 4, Evloev does start grappling way more, and I hear that Murphy injured his hips, and within that round, that was where the point deduction happened, even though Evloev was winning, so I went to 9-9. So moving on to round 5, clearly Evloev's, and that is his best round as he did dominate with the grappling. He also had power in his hands this time, though he could have done immense damage with the ground and pound, but he really didn't. But I'll be for real though, Mosfar is actually not boring to watch at all. I know many people are saying he's boring. He doesn't usually get a finish, which is true, he does need a finish, but he's not boring to watch at all. Even grappling, he usually tries to inflict damage, which was not there though this time, if I'm being honest. But from this fight, I don't know why, I've got the feeling that Silva probably does get the title shot. I don't know why, I just see it. And overall, just a weird main event, but that really is it with my take on the UFC London card. Thanks for watching, and I will be back with more videos soon.